Welcome back, and now to something different. Our special report tonight on developments that could shape who is the ultimate Democratic nominee to run against Trump. So how many people actually have been running for this Democratic presidential nomination? About 28, if you count them all up, but it does feel like the number of contenders is fewer. And that's because even before these first votes have started being cast, voters often see the real contender candidates as those who make the debate stage. And that makes sense. If you're not top 7, say, in last week's debate, how seriously should voters take you? And that number has just fallen to 6 since even that debate on Friday with Andrew Yang dropping out. In fact, even if you're pretty well known or have a lot of money, making the debate stage can make a big difference. Billionaire Ross Perot said he didn't initially care much about debates, but being on that stage with both parties' nominees, it made all the difference for his insurgent campaign.
You think you'll be included in the debates?
I could care less.
Care less?
No.
You want to be in the debates?
Oh, I'd love to if it's a real debate.
The start of the debates next weekend. Ross Perot has been invited to join in.
Why should you have been in this debate if you're running only 5% in the polls?
Because we met all of the objective criteria of the debate commission. We were in the campaign last time and we were included in the debates.
So what makes the objective criteria? Well, in the primaries, the party decides. So while different media outlets rotate in broadcasting these debates, it is only the Democratic Party that sets the criteria for who's in them. And these can be make or break. This cycle, the DNC made rules requiring candidates must meet a polling threshold or draw grassroots fundraising from 65,000 people. Now, why make those donations a requirement at all? Well, the DNC chairman, Tom Perez, said last year the requirement tests candidates on proving their national appeal as an opportunity for people who don't have the national name ID to get on the debate stage. He went on, if you want to win the presidency, you've got to connect with grassroots America. Here is how Perez pitched it.
18 months out from an election, if the only pathway to a debate stage is polling, we thought that that was potentially unfair. And so I think the grassroots fundraising pathway is a very viable pathway, and it's important to empower the grassroots.
All right. The DNC says that rule empowers the grassroots through small donations, and it's not like millionaire bundling here. We know in the past, candidates like Barack Obama showed early enthusiasm with those grassroots donations. Now, some candidates obviously do better than others under this year's rules. Cory Booker found himself boxed out of a looming debate because he couldn't meet all the DNC requirements. His campaign argued those requirements from the DNC quickened him leaving the race. Now, Chairman Perez pushed back. He said earlier that he was a fan of Booker. But if voters are disappointed Booker hasn't qualified, then when they answer the phone to pollsters, they need to express their preference for Booker. Okay, those are the rules. And we all know from candidates to athletes, the people who are losing often complain more about the rules or the calls on the field. But here's why I'm telling you all this tonight. This is super important. The story tonight is about whether it is fair for the Democratic Party to change the rules in the middle of the game. Real question. Is it fair to change in the middle? Now, before anyone decides who this rule change helps or who it might hurt, let's answer that question. No. It's not fair to change the rules in the middle. And that would be true if it was the government changing the voting laws in the middle, or either political party or any party in the middle of a primary. And I think that's obviously pretty clear from a position of fairness before you get to the concerns from some about the Democratic Party's approach to Iowa or the 2016 primary or anything else. But here we are in the middle of the heart of this primary now, after campaigns built strategies trying to make the debate stage under the rules, and plenty of qualified candidates, as you know, have dropped out. Now the DNC is changing the rules for making the coveted debate stage, completely eliminating the requirement that candidates must have received donations from hundreds of thousands of people. And the new rules say candidates can now make the debate stage by meeting thresholds for delegates or polling. New rules, middle of the game. Now, Democrats who love one candidate may only be interested in how this affects that person. This is still politics, team sport. Who are you rooting for? But I'm also telling you tonight, this is a larger democracy question for a Democratic Party which says in its platform and in its campaigning this year that it stands for transparency and voting rights and fairness. So what is the impact? Well, so far, 5 candidates qualify for this next debate, and here they are. Only 3 of them, by the way, have passed that polling requirement. But by eliminating the grassroots donor requirement, the DNC is opening up a lane for a 6th candidate. And he is a big one. Former Republican Mayor Mike Bloomberg and his self-funded campaign. Now, under the original rules, a self-funder wouldn't make this debate. But now, Bloomberg could make future Democratic debates. It's early. He hasn't yet qualified, but he is actually getting close. He needs one more poll to put him at 10%. And the DNC is now catching fire. And not just from, I would call it, people who didn't make the debate. You're going to hear criticism from Democrats who qualified for the debate and some who have not.
So instead of trying to get a more diverse group of candidates, they changed the rules for Michael Bloomberg. And that just seems to me to be wrong.
The DNC holding their own pre-primary process, deciding which candidates they want voters to hear from, and then changing the rules for a billionaire Michael Bloomberg to come in and take the debate stage.
He's worth $55 billion. And I guess if you're worth $55 billion, you can get the rules changed for debate.
So here's what we know. The DNC made debate rules and stood by them even as they helped potentially eliminate some of the top Democratic candidates, U.S. senators. The DNC said those rules were fair because they tested grassroots support. Then the DNC changed the rules midstream in a way that can only add one particular candidate to the debates. Now, I'll tell you what the DNC says about this. They defend this, arguing that the donor threshold was appropriate for the opening stages of the race when there were no metrics available outside of polling to distinguish those making progress from those who were not. But if that was the whole story, the DNC could have factored all of that into the original rules. And it is hard to see why polling should count more now after this voting started than it did before. Now, I want to be very clear and fair about this. Nobody knows how this will all play out. I've heard from operatives who are saying that Bloomberg is doing well without being in the debates, where on that stage there could be more incoming fire. And we've heard from other operatives who say if Mike Bloomberg does want to really win the party nomination, then he has to eventually be on that debate stage to be seen as a finalist, so this could help him. But either way, and this is what I plead for everyone to keep an eye on, we are living through a time when our democracy is being tested. No party is immune from scrutiny and vetting for fairness. And as for Democratic Party Chairman Perez, the question's simple. Is it fair and transparent to change the rules midstream? No. Just ask Tom Perez. Here he was in January.
We made the rules.
Right.
They were very transparent. They're very inclusive. And we can't change the rules midstream because there's a candidate that I wish were on but didn't make the debate stage.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.